Good morning everyone, and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity. And today we're going to do a very quick card for Eiffel store. So if you saw my haul last week, you will have seen that it was all Halloweeny type stuff, and then I did do quite a few paper cuts from it. So rather than waste those paper cuts, I'm going to put them into a card. So I've done myself a card base, and I'm hoping the camera is good. And we're using the Panelisa Cosmos paper pack again because it's just brilliant. It just, it's a great cheat. And we're going to use that central piece, which is going to be this one. And if you remember, we did this. What I've actually done since is go around it with a white gel pen into areas, that I just wanted to highlight. So this is going to be really quick. So that's going to be the main feature, and that's going to be popped up on tape. And I also cut cobwebs, so I'm kind of like thinking about where I want those. I'm thinking like this. I'm going to go to the four corners of the card. Now this one has a little spider on it. I don't actually want the spider, so I'm just hunting for scissors here, and I'm going to cut that off. So my spider is going bye-byes. So you can keep yours on if you want to, but mine is surplus to requirements, and I'm hoping that my glue is going to flow. And I'll just test it off on a little scrap of paper, and it seems to be working. And I'm going to go with this one. So I'm doing my cobwebs first. I want to stick within my sheet of paper. And as you can see, I've just glued in the centre. I am somebody who, on a card, I like to see, different heights and levels of things. This one, you can't really do that with because it's a corner piece. But you don't have to glue every single bit for it to lay down flat, if you know what I mean. And as I was saying last week, these are beautiful and delicate, and they do cut out beautifully. So I want to go up to the edge of my Cosmos paper, and as you know, I can't really see, so I'm kind of hovering over the top to try and get that straight. I think that's it. So I'm going to go down into the corner with that, and just make sure that one is stuck down. And then I want to do the same with this one. So I'm just going to glue it here, and then just at those points. Really quick card I'm doing today. And the card size for this is 5 inches on the Cosmos paper, and then 5 1/4 on the black base. So I'm just going to push on that, make sure it's stuck down. And then this one might need to be trimmed off. It might be dangling off the edges somewhere. But I'm going to go with that bit there. I'm trying to think. And then maybe these points as I go along. And perhaps that one. I kind of want it at that angle. So it's kind of stretching along the card. Do I want it like that, or do I want it like that? Decisions. Yeah, I think I'm going to go that way around. Trying to fit it within my paper again. Oh yeah, actually I can see it's crossed over, so I can put some glue at this point as well. I'm just going to put down a little touch there, and then just stick your fingers in it and it will get up any excess. Just going to hold that down. I'm just going to pause while that dries. Right, so I think that's kind of like dry enough. And if you remember last week when we did this, I showed you how to piece the sky in using double-sided tape, and that's underneath there. And I've just put 3 strips of foam onto it. So I'm going to take those off, or shall I say take the backs off. And everything then becomes hidden. So all of that stuff that was there before, is no longer important. I might need to stand up for this. I'm not entirely sure. I'm just hoping that that is in the middle. I think it is. And if not, then it's not. Right, so I'm pushing that down. Now there's certain elements within this card that I quite like the bats. Now if you remember, I got bats, and so I want to make that bat bigger, so I'm going to cover it up with this one, and I'm just going to slightly curl the wings, so I'm getting some dimension there, and popping just a little bit of glue onto the little batty bat's body. So I just think it's going to look more interesting to have something bigger there. So I'm going to go there. So now I've got a big curly bat right next to my crow. And then I want to have the moon. And I think I'm going to put my moon up there just off of that cobweb. And I think I'm going to use foam to do that, not glue. So as I said, all of these were cut last week. Right. I'm going to stick it into the middle, and I know I'm going to be left with bits that are like kind of hanging off the edge, so I'm going to trim that. Isn't it horrible when your scissors get all gunked up? So take a look at it. You can see I've got a little bit of foam that I do not want to see there, so I'm just going to trim that off, and then that'll make my little moon stick up in the air. So I'm going to peel that piece off. So that's using another one of the die cuts from last week. So I'm going to go there with that. So now I've got a little moon in the sky. See if we can get in close. There you go. I've got a moon. I've got a bigger batty bat. I've got my crow there. And the spider that's attached to this frame is like hovering over that spider web. And I'm wondering if he needs something, you know, like to go after. That sounds horrible, doesn't it? You know, attack of the spiders. I might need to trim his legs off to get him there a bit. But I think, you know, that's going to look sufficiently creepy. So now we're going to do the unspeakable and chop the spider's legs off. Right, and get that one out. And I'm hoping that that one's going to slot kind of more in there. So he's kind of peeping out. Don't know if that's very effective or not, actually. Spider on spider. I don't know if I like that. I think that might be just too creepy for me. So after I've just finished chopping his legs off, I'm going to remove it and decide not to use it. I'm going to do something cute instead. I'm going to have some ghosts. Now, here's a couple of the ghosts that I cut last week. And I'm going to put one here, I think. I'm going to have one going off there. And I think I'm going to have one going off here. Yeah, I think that's a lot nicer. But they're hollow, so I want to give them their eyes and mouth back. So all I basically do when I'm doing something like that is I kind of assess the size behind the mouth, and then I cut myself just a little scrap of cardstock, and then I just position it in a place where it can be snipped off easily like that. So what I'm going to do is pop some glue in that area. Whoops. Let's get that out of the way. A little bit there and there. And then we just get our piece of black cardstock and we stick it on, as I just said, into an area that can be trimmed off easily. So you don't want your black cardstock hanging in a little area like that sort of thing, but onto a place where you can trim it, which is right there. So I've got a little bit squeezing out of the eyes, but I'm just going to go in while it's still wet and trim those bits off. Go behind his little arm, and now he's solid in his face, which to me looks a lot better. And then I'm just going to do exactly the same thing and cut another small piece of cardstock and stick it behind this one. This one might not need trimming actually if I go down low enough on it. So I'm just going to pop in another little blob of glue and stick that on there. So make sure you got your eyes and your mouth covered. That might need to go over and up. So you can see I've got a tiny little bit that I need to prune off there. It looks like a little spike sticking out by his head. I'm just going to get my scissors and snip that off. So now he's nice and solid, and I'm going to pop those up on foam. So you can see just how quick that was. I mean, I know that I'd already, you know, sort of like cut my base and done my die cuts and whatnot. But when you've got little dies like this, a really good idea is to, you know, while you're at your die cutting machine, just cut several and stick them in a box with your die. And then when you're ready to use them, you've always got them. So that you can mass produce. There you go. Because they make great little cake toppers and things like that. You can just cut a thin strip of acetate so that it dangles when you put any weight on it. And just pop them on cupcakes and your little ghosties will float around in the breeze. And I'm thinking I'm going to have that there. Kind of coming in from the night sky. And I think I might have this one a bit lower down. Don't know. I know that I just do not want to interfere with my bat there. I'm going to pick that up so that you can have a look. So we've got a bigger bat. We've got a lovely purple foil moon. You've got that great background paper from Panalisa. I just can't say enough wonderful things about it. As I said, it's just an awesome cheat. And then those cobwebs and that little spider that just sits nicely on top of that one. And once again, as I said last week, you know, you can put your boo sentiment in there. You could stamp it in white and emboss it. But I just love that. Really quick, really easy. And I thank you so much for joining me again today. Right, tomorrow we are going to be starting the makes from Panalisa. You have an absolutely awesome day. And as usual, all links below. Bye.